Tonight I thought I'd discuss my quote unquote story. And once again, I'm recording this off of my laptop. This time I'm holding it rather than putting it on the bed, and maybe that'll make the sound better. But no promises. So, where I am today basically started off because I fell into depression when I was a teenager. And I was really aware of the illness. I feel like some people kind of just sink into it to the point of really demonizing themselves, and maybe their depression was actually mixed in with some regretful acts. I didn't really have regretful acts. It was just my mind couldn't concentrate, and my heart felt like it was breaking because I felt so suffocated in my situation of the opportunities I would have, and the belief that everyone would kind of surpass me and forget me, and I'd be embarrassed and humiliated that I'd done nothing and I'd become no one. And this hit in sophomore year, just having a lot of anger, and it was jealousy. It was technically jealousy. Like, I really envied other people's lives and the things I got to do and their kind of financial freedom. But I didn't hate anyone individually for it. It was just I hated my parents, and I felt like they were not responsible. So I became depressed, and I was aware, so I also wanted to get out of it and not just sit around being mad at my parents. So I started watching and listening to and reading self-help books and psychology books and sociology stuff about having a positive outlook, and kind of motivational books like how to plan, how to save, how to live even at 18 when you're so young. Of course you have so much life to live. I really felt that I needed to make out all the lists and do all the bubble maps to figure out myself, and to I was studying myself. I was studying the concept of goals, because I've never been a person that's been very initiative and in such an ambitious sense. If there's something I have to do, get a job, I can do it, but I don't really exceed beyond a the standard, I guess. Some people have such big dreams that they can just chase without knowing where it's going, or they can hustle. They can really hustle. I've never been a hustler. So I started studying, and through that studying, I think I came across maybe some psychic podcast. I don't quite remember the complete I'm thinking of the word, trying to remember the word. Just the way everything was organized. I don't remember how each part came in what time, but I came across a psychic podcast, and I also started listening to meditations or trying to meditate. And then I kept seeing this name in the meditation recommendation videos. And the name was Abraham Hicks. And eventually I pressed play, and lo and behold, the man Abraham Hicks was a spirit channeled by a woman named Esther Hicks. So I listened to a lot of that, and that was basically how I came across The Secret, which I do recall the book. I do recall the name The Secret growing up. in like the early 2000s when I think it was on Oprah or something. And I would resonate with this being, and I think there's something so seductive about it because of the live audience and it's answering questions and feeling like there's something with an answer because I wasn't drawn to church and I didn't really feel like a direct connection to God or like what people suppose or think is God. Like now I have my own version of God, but I thought that other people's version of God was like something that you should be able to directly talk to and I would talk back. And I just didn't have that relationship with anything like that. So I listened to Abraham Hicks, and that like introduced me into this concept of manifestation. And using that word, I would search like latest manifestation videos, and through that, I came across another channeler, and her name is Marina Jacoby. Now, I've followed Marina for I want to say since 2016, maybe a little later. I just remember it was a year, at least a year before or more, before like this thing called the event kept being talked about online by spiritual communities. There was supposed to be this event that was going to change the world, and no one really knew what it would look like or be. I think in some circles it was basically considered like the solar flash event. I just know it's supposed to like look towards the sky and the sun would appear different, and we would all be like quietly transition to a different dimension or something. And I had so much hope for this because I was still depressed at the time. And I thought that like I was going to be saved. I was going to be removed. I was going to be cleansed. And I had like a lot of hope. And you know, all this stuff sounds so crazy that you can't really talk about it. So I've never talked about it with people. It's so much to explain and it's so personal and it's so for myself and for my life. So the events, whatever that was supposed to be, I'm not sure if it happened. You really don't have any validation for these things, and like these spiritual communities are always saying that something happened and or something's going to happen. Like every day is a new event. Like something about the star placements and like Lionsgate, and there's so many things that can be turned into events, and always talking about like upgrading you as a star seed and opening your chakras and stuff like that. Like, I always expected a clear, defining awakening experience. I never had a Kundalini awakening, I think. I feel like that's something that happens to you, and you should be able, it should be so intense that you have no question about it. And I feel like my awakening process has been very organic and plain. And that has led to me spending a lot of hours and times down rabbit holes, conspiracy theories, different channelers, and always waiting for the next answer, and always being in the line to now like this year I've really been irritated with this community of the people that promise so much, and I feel like genuinely like they might be telling the truth for their reality because I believe we all have our own realities, and what I think is the lie is we keep pretending that resonating is enough, and that if you just resonate with information, that means it'll come true for you. So people will really resonate with some sort of alien story and some woman that says she's in contact with aliens, and nothing will happen for them. And they're still supposed to, follow someone that has answers. And I really don't like this idea of some people have the answers and some people don't. And even the people that have the answers, they'll always be like, I can't have the answers, and I'm not the only person that has the answers. You have to look inside towards yourself, into yourself. You have to do shadow work. You have to, practice and things like that. And I just feel like we're at a time where I don't feel in control of myself. I'm starting to doubt the idea of free will because there are some things about me that I know. It's like I can sense invisible lines. I can feel invisible lines. I can feel the possibilities. I can feel things shift. And not in like a very magical cosmic sense. It's just I think when you've been maybe when you've been alive long enough, or if you're like insightful and self-aware, you know that if you do things a certain way, the result isn't going to happen. Like, there are some things where I just have to do it in a roundabout way, otherwise it won't get done. Or it's very hard to show an example without being extremely specific. And even though I'm sharing a lot, I'm still trying to be, a bit private for whatever reason. But it's just like I've spent so much time on these channels, reading these things, and not taking everything for truth, but kind of compiling some kind of collage study of all the beliefs of like how reality is a hologram, and there's aliens from this part that are fighting aliens from that part, and like your chakras will activate, based off of your diet, and your reality is like molecules that spin in a certain direction at a certain pace, depending on your vibration and your mood and your actions, like all these pieces of information I lightly put together. And I just think an all knowing God would be able to read my mind and understand where I am. I wouldn't have to be located, they would just know where I am and know at like what level I'm at. And I feel like I have screamed in my head for so long to be heard and to be saved, to escape, to go to a place that feels good, to get the things I want. That the type of God that I think we're all assuming exists would have heard that. And because I don't get any responses back, I'm just really questioning, whether I'm meant to. And accepting that. Accepting the truth that you can't follow people into their realities. Sometimes we can't share realities. And these people might think they're being helpful by giving other people hope and what is perceived as knowledge. But I wish they would just be honest and say, for a lot of you, you're not going to be able to make it, in the sense of you can't properly learn what I'm saying. I can't properly teach you. And I feel like that is the energy of this year to me. Like if I'm online, there's so many people lecturing each other. There's so many people trying to teach each other and prove to each other and like convince each other. And I feel like that tension is the tension of duality and the evidence of, things are meant to be different right now. We're not all getting on the same page. We're not on the same page, and we keep getting frustrated and expecting to be on the same page. And we're just in different levels. And I can so clearly feel my level sometimes. And I'm not beating myself up about it because I know I'm so above some other people. And I will be below other people because I simply don't crave like the knowledge type of. I don't crave any more conspiracy esoteric knowledge. And some people are so advanced in that I can only kind of wish them good luck and, acknowledge from afar. It's not even that I admire it, it's just feeling the invisible sense of not being able to go in that direction. And I think it would be good if teachers, these people that kind of see themselves as teachers who do like weekly readings or, I don't know, monthly videos updating about whatever alien contact they have that really helps no one's personal life, no one's day-to-day life. Like, when you realize that the truth can't be responsible for you. The truth, we expect so much from the truth. We think if only the truth was out, if only we told the truth, if only the truth was prioritized. When I found the truth, I did change, but my environment is pretty much the same. Like so much is the same because the truth can't carry me out of this. The truth can't be responsible for me. I have to be responsible for me. I would say like the truth is overrated. We think the truth can fix things. And now I'm just wondering and considering that it can't. And what do you do when the truth can't fix reality. The truth is not for utopia. And maybe it was ignorant to think, because so many people avoid the truth anyway. Like, the truth is scary, so it can't have been for utopia. I guess I'm backing away from I'm backing away from seeking. And there's an addiction to seeking because there's teachers. There's this illusion that there can be teachers to listen to find the answer, and that it motivates seeking. You are seeking teachers. I'm backing away from seeking and sitting to myself and accepting the kind of beauty or the it is what it isness of not knowing and relaxing in the not knowing. And kind of just being like, so what? Like, don't take it personal. Like, why would this be personal? To even things, I don't want a lot these days, but even the things I do want, I'm just like, okay, what if you never find love? What if love never works out for you? And I'm kind of just, when I think of that, I don't get depressed. I'm just like, well, I guess I'm relieved. Like, it's like I can't be in charge of that. Like, I don't have, I'm not in charge of that. Something else is in charge of everything. So I'm just feeling the relief right now. Because I think the pain really comes from, or the frustration really comes from, because we sincerely believe that we have such ultimate free will that every day, every minute, everything is our decision. Everything we have to make happen. And I'm just reaching like a comfort level where I don't think loneliness could kill me, because I just can't take it personal. I can't take it as a fault. Because I've been so sincere in my heart. I've focused so hard and prayed, and I've wanted so genuinely and beautifully and with details in depth for what I've wanted and why, and how I would treat it with respect far more than other people. I truly think I've understood some things so good, so much better than the people that get the things understand. And I feel like if something can't sense that selflessness and that truth, the truth that I have, the virtue that I have, in order to grant me the thing, it's not that I'm feeling to get it, it's just I'm naturally feeling it. And I think, if I was a god and I saw someone feel this way and understand something this way, I think I would give it to them because I know they would really appreciate it. And since that hasn't happened, or it doesn't happen, I'm kind of realizing that, my feelings in a sense don't matter. So it's not about being the correct feeling. I don't know what it's about. What's the correct thing to get anything? I don't know if there's a correct way. This is why I'm letting go and just relaxing, because there's nothing else to do. There's no reason to work hard, because I just think something else is in control at the end of the day. And I've been letting go of everything. I don't have any expectations anymore. But I'm trying to explain that it's not like a depressed feeling. It's almost, if I really sat in it, I would reach a euphoria. If I meditated on this more, because I think there is so much stress, and when you're attempting to do things, because it's not just like planning to do something, you have to think of all the billions of pieces that have to come together. Like if you meet someone you love, you have to think of what creates a person, the person you love. Like just like you, it took, if the story is real, it took millions of years, and then a family appeared, and then people had children, and children's children had children, and children's children had children. And over a series of 20 different couples, and boat changes, immigration, the person you love, and you came to be born in the same state, and you're able to communicate in the same language, most likely. And their parents fed them, and you were fed how many times growing up? You were taken care of thousands of times, thousands of diaper changes, thousands of meals, thousands of car rides, safely making it. All the trillion pieces for you to eventually meet. You couldn't have controlled that. But in your head, when you're trying to plan things, I think you're subconsciously considering like all the pieces you have to control to make the thing happen, and you can't, and that's just evidence of God. I always think about how so much is happening. There's so many people here that you would think there'd be more accidents and more deaths, and there's too many miracles that everything works. Like the amount of things that do work, there has to be some kind of orchestrator. Because I don't believe humans have like the capacity to be so completely left at our own devices that we would be able to survive this many people with this many things going on. The consciousness that runs in us is so smart. It's the smartest thing that exists. And it's not that we exist separate from it, we're all together. So you can only give credit to consciousness and God. And it's best to do that. It's best to relieve yourself of the stress of thinking you're actually creating every part. And just appreciating or kind of considering the amusement or joy or interestingness of the idea of, what if I grow old and nothing ever happens to me and I never get married, and what a unique creative story for consciousness to invent. And when you stand back and kind of artistically see these creations, these consciousness creations, for the art it is, then you feel less dissatisfied or complaining that perfection wasn't reached, because it is such a rich story, regardless. That for moments I can almost be like, wow, I can't believe I lucked out. I'm having such a complex story. I can't believe I did something so juicy. And, carefully crafted. It is so nuanced and pain, but also joy and so much insight. That despite how it ends, I can just appreciate it now. That there's no fear of the ending when you appreciate it now for what it is, instead of thinking that you deserved perfection. Or you were made for perfection. Because we don't understand the definition of perfection. We don't understand the concept of perfection. This is why, like, I'm perfectly perfect, that kind of t-shirt slogan, catchphrase, is correct. Also, something I've thought about is the burden of happiness on people wanting to be happy. But I think I looked up the definition and I found the origin of happiness was actually more so a word for luck. And that changed something. That clicked in my head because I thought, wow, happiness is something that haunts people a lot. Happiness as an emotion haunts people a lot. And to think that the definition that we've been letting burden us was all along, a word for luck. And how can you can't own luck. You can't be permanent luck. The way, we think that you can own happiness. Like, luck is chance, luck is God, luck isn't up to us. So we remade the definition of happiness to be something so solid and thinking we can control it or can own it that we just made ourselves crazy over a false definition. A false truth. There's nothing I need to do, there's nothing I need to be. There's nothing I need to have. There's nothing I need to feel, there's nothing I need to think. There's nothing I need to like. Just let go all the strings, all the bubble parts. You think make up a life, and when you're in the middle, and there's a line out towards what you need to do, what you need to think, what you need to be, what you need to have. Cut off all the lines and free float as an as being, as consciousness. Empty. Empty and perfect. Not because of what you are, but because you are. I feel so good when I'm just being nothing. Because that feels like the most truth. I guess if there's a truth that does help, that is the most correct truth. Because there are no stories. There's no savior, there's no victim. And the story is gone. At the beat, it's just being without a story. And you're not called to believe in anyone or anything. You're not even called to know if it's correct or not. There's nothing to be correct. There's no detail, there's no story to verify. But I think it goes both ways. It's also like, if I'm completely wrong, there's also there's nothing to verify. There's nothing to verify that pinpoint of such being in stillness. I feel like I have to meditate on that right now. So I'm gonna end this video.